Hi Aquarius, my sun sign brothers and sisters, welcome to your week ahead taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. So a quick note about my tarot readings. They are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Aquarius, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three of them because it's going to give you a more complete picture of how they speak to you. And more importantly, it will let you know which one of these signs I resonate with you more as a reader. So with that said, if you're a new subby or just stopping by, thank you for being here. And for those of you that are continued subbies, you know I love you for it. And please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit the subscribe button. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So for our key to the week this week, we have the Devil card, and I kind of feel like this is, you know, I'm gonna do it, I know, I kind of feel like this is linked to the Mercury retrograde, even though it doesn't necessarily represent that. This could be a week where you end up going overboard. This could be a week where you overindulge. It could be a week where you just go overboard with everything. So watch out for that tendency this week. And the reason that could be is because there's a lot going on in the mind sector. So especially if this is your if this is like your sun or your ascendant, you know, more sort of specifically, you could really be feeling this in the noggin. All right, so this could be quite a really busy mind week. So find ways to alleviate or spend that energy in a positive or more productive sort of manner. For our actions and options this week, we have the Five of Swords, right? So crossed wires, fraught communication, potentially like a little ruckus or two. And this week as well, you know, I'm an Aquarius sun, so you know I can talk about this. With this coupled with the Devil card, this week you could find that you're feeling more pedantic. You might feel a bit more combative than you usually are, and you might find it harder this week to let go of things. Like usually most Aquarians are just like, oh, you know what, it's really not worth it, and they'll let it slide. Whereas this week you could be finding that you're like, no, I'm not letting it slide, I'm going to hold on to it. And this could kind of see you coming across to other people like, you know, like, are you all right? You're not usually like this, like what's going on? So find a way to circumnavigate that energy or direct it direct it in a manner that's going to be more beneficial for everybody that you come into contact with. All right, for our communications and conversations, we got the Queen of Swords, right? So your Queen of Swords, forget it being a person, your Queen of Swords literally represents a battle or something that you have to go to war for. And I'm just going to call it as I see it. This is a week, my dear Aquarians, my fellow brothers and sisters, you are going to be more combative than normal. And one of the things with Aquarians, when we are on the warpath, you know, and I recognize this in myself, when an Aquarian mouth opens, they will literally just straight up deal with the facts and destroy you with their words. It's really quite, there's been a few times in my history where I had to remind myself of how I was behaving. I was young once, right? This week you could literally feel, you know, like almost like a bit of a fever pitch. You might feel it sort of brewing underneath the surface. And there is a potential for this to come out in what I would call a conscious stream of destruction. So if somebody, you know, woe betide anybody that pisses an Aquarius off this week. That's all I'm going to say. Because, you know, we have a tendency to just straight up deal with the facts. I'm going to destroy you and I'm going to ruin you and your argument right here, right now. And when I'm done, I will smile and walk away. Right? Like, if you find yourself getting into that, this week would be a really good week to do something that is going to help you spend that energy. So something physical, you know, work out, even if you can't get to a gym or whatever. I mean, I know here we can't, we're, you know, in lockdown and stuff, but find something to do that is going to help you get rid of that energy, because it could kind of come spewing out, and it's like, you know, you could have one of those moments like, I could hear what I was saying and I really did want to stop, but for those of you that work for somebody else, If you can see a better way to do something, if you feel like you're going to get into it with your boss, my advice to you would be to write an email. All right, and if you can't write an email, then write it down on paper, read it back to yourself, and then edit it as if you were editing somebody else's speech. That will give you the time and the space to say what you need to say without kind of launching into this very potentially career-ending tirade. For those of you that own your own businesses, for those of you that are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, etc., this week, especially if you work in, on, or around social media, don't bite. Just don't do it. Because the thing is, like I said, you could end up going completely overboard. Like, I think, what's that saying? You don't use a flamethrower to hammer in a nail. All right. For those of you that are retired or no longer working, this would be actually a very good week for you to look into some sort of therapy. It would be a great week for you to find some way of speaking or giving, giving voice to some of the challenges that you've faced over a lifetime that maybe you've accumulated baggage on or around. For our money and materials, we have the Eight of Cups. This could be a week where overindulgence or finances in the financial sector could be a thing. So you could, maybe try to fill whatever challenging or void that comes up this week. You might be tempted just to throw money at it. It's not going to change anything. The other thing is as well, this week, I would start thinking about your long-term savings goals. And if you can see them down on a piece of paper, I think it would be really beneficial for you. It will take some of the, it will give your mind something else to focus on. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, your feet, toes, ankles, blood and lymph system, this week, pay attention to those. And, especially the lymph system, because with this, it looks like with this amount of stress, do some really deep breathing, do some physical exercise, anything where you're moving your body so that you can circulate the energy around, because that energy of stagnant energy or not saying something like that, if you've got something that you really feel like is going to explode and you're like me, you just bottle it up. If you don't do something with that, it will make you sick on the inside. So, find a way to do that. And then for your home and environment, you might be called away from home this week, on behalf of somebody else. You might be called upon for a favor or, something where somebody needs you. You may even, someone this week as well, this might be a battle of somebody else's that comes up and you're drawn into it. And because you're already kind of dialed up to an 11, someone pushes your buttons and then you see like a loved one being attacked or verbally abused or whatever, and you could just absolutely let rip. Just be aware of how to traverse this week. For your love and relations, you have the Queen of Wands, which is actually a good thing. This week, your friends in true Aquarian fashion are going to be the ones that you turn to. This would be a good week for you to reach out, connect with friends, connect with loved ones, familial members, people that that you can trust. This is a good week to connect with them. Now, for those of you that are partnered, this could be, the boom boom room, the boudoir could be a really good way to exercise some of this excess energy. If you're single and, looking to meet somebody, I'll be honest with you, this week you could come across as a little bit scary or intimidating, man or woman, person, they, whatever. This week you could come across as a bit like, yeah, okay, this person's quite sort of in your face. And it's like, I think this week, the Aquarian energy is cranked right up, but it's got like that real sting to it as well. So at your own, at your own leisure. For your full moon message, because the full moon is in the opposite sign of Leo this week, funnily enough, Queen of Wands comes up. And your full moon message this week is to look for and find the beauty. And if you can, connect with the natural world in some way, shape or form. It will really, really help you. This is a really good week as well for you to figure out what you believe is appealing or beautiful about yourself. One of the fastest ways to bring yourself down off of that thing is to list the things about you that you actually really like. So this is going to be a very interesting week for Aquarian people. I think there is definitely a possibility for you to meet someone this week, but you could, like I said, you could come across in a way that doesn't necessarily present you at your best, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because if someone if someone meets you and they see kind of how bad you can get from the offset and they stick around, that's a keeper. If they look at you like, okay, you're a little bit crazy, but I can deal with that. When they then see you at your best, it's like, okay, cool, I know all aspects or sides of this person. So yeah, it'll be an interesting week for sure. With that said, I wish you all an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.